What up, peeps? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Price. I read books, I watch TV shows, I talk about life. I'm young, I'm still figuring out things. But glad you could make it, because today we are reviewing chapters 3 through 8 of the book People Person by Candice Carty Williams. It's a book that I've started after really enjoying her previous novel, Queenie. And yeah, let's just get into it, because I basically gave all the background context behind, Candice Carty Williams and why I liked her and why I really decided to read this book. Now, going back to update you, I will say it's not been like a game-changing book for me. Not yet, not at this point. I'm only midway through. I'm in chapter 8. This review is going to be about chapters 3 through 8. So yeah, let's just get into it. I would say this book is very much focused on the plot, and I think if you fall in love with the plot, you'll fall in love with the book. If you fall in love with the plot, you'll fall in love with the book. And until you get to that point, it's kind of just like you do what you do, really, pretty much. So we're gonna get into chapter 3, y'all. So in the previous chapter, Dimple kind of felt like she murdered her boyfriend, or the situation was a little washy in terms of like whether he was alive, breathing or not. So she panicked and she called Nikisha. Nikisha is her eldest half sibling, and Dimple felt comfortable to come with her to anything. Dimple felt comfortable enough to go with her.
Oh, now you can't speak English.
To go to her with that information. What is Nikisha gonna do? I don't quite know, to be honest, but I guess it's just a panic thing in which like you call her, which is funny because they really don't even talk like that. But Nikisha calls up all her siblings, not even knowing what the situation is. She's just like, hey, Dimple says she's in trouble, she needs us, like, let's all go over there. They go over there, they see the body, and I would just say, somebody like me, right? Like, you call me up, I come to the house, I see a body, I'm about to start panicking. I might even call the cops. I might just leave. I don't know, bro. Like, I'm not the person who's gonna act like they acted, right? So you got Prince, Danny, Lizzie, and Nikisha all there, just walking into the situation and discovering it for the first time, and they are just so calm. Like, Nikisha starts getting the plotting on, okay, you clean the carpets, you do this.
I think we need to move Lonzo. That ain't no problem. Huh? That ain't no problem.
Well, Prince is making jokes like, he's like, a little woman like you took out a man that big. Danny's calm. He's been in prison before. I think Lizzie is the only one stressing, and I think it's a little interesting because I don't know, like, there's a lot of xenophobia in this book, and part of the xenophobia comes from Lizzie's mom. Candice Carty Williams writes her as a Nigerian woman who just kind of really wants to separate herself from Cyril and all his children. So she calls them Jamaican litter at one point, and it is just, not a good situation, right? But they all link up. Chapters 3 and 4 is really about them, trying to get rid of the evidence, right? Like, Nikisha just starts saying, do this, do this, do this. Dimple is kind of panicking. Lizzie is arguing with Danny, or not Danny, she's arguing with Prince. They just grab a carpet and get to moving. I'm like, yo, y'all are the Sinister Six for real. Like, no way y'all just, like, this like something off The Wire where you just call a group of people, like, clear the body, and you just, okay. But in reality, like, it's really interesting because it forces these people who are strangers but like blood to work together. So they just kind of settle in and they start to do it. And I think the climax of these two chapters within chapter 3 or chapter 4 comes from when they've gotten rid of the body. They're like kind of taking all the stops. Dimple has a very nosy neighbor who Carty Williams writes as Karen, and she's just a Karen. Like, I can't even explain it any other way. She's just nosy. She's kind of like insinuating like, yo, why are there all these black people in our neighborhood? I just want to make sure things are safe. Like, she's just a Karen. They avoid her. They drive to this construction site where they're going to bury Kyron. He's in the back of the car. And then finally they go to like get the body and he's not there. they start to panic a little bit. Nikisha is just so methodical. Like, I don't know, she got more bodies than Avon Barksdale at this point. Cause what's the word, bro? Like, you Joe from you. Like, you just, any situation, you just know what to do no matter what, bro. Like, you a little too calm. But I think what I will say is, yeah, I think these 2 chapters just kind of move the plot along. So in chapter 6, we see Kyron wake up, and let's get to it. Okay, so in chapter 6, we see Kyron wake up, and this man wakes up like anyone you would imagine who's ever been in a serious accident. Like, he doesn't know what's happening, doesn't know where he is, doesn't know how he got there. The last thing he remembers, I don't know, it doesn't even recall the last thing he remembers. He just doesn't know like what happened. He's in the hospital. People, this book deals with a lot of like, this book throws in so many microaggression jabs. Like, Candice Carty Williams clearly has either dealt with these within her life, or just, she understands that this is what people think. Because you got the situation going back to Karen talking about how she didn't want all these like dark-skinned people in her community who she's never seen before, and they're kind of suspicious. You got the hospital people talking about he looked like Kyron. By the way, the nurses are talking about he looks like Idris Elba or Denzel Washington. I feel like they just kind of throwing out black actors that look like this dude. He wakes up in the hospital. He low key like panics and runs out when they talk about calling the cops. They're like, somebody needs to report this. Somebody, like, they found you on the street just lying like near dead, like, so he doesn't want any problems with the cops at all. So he skates out. And then we see Dimple kind of dealing with the whole, like, Dimple and Nikisha growing closer and dealing with, the aftermath of just any like attempted cover up, right? Like, Dimple is just panicking, and Nikisha is just kind of being in her like little Lex Luthor mindset, talking about, okay, this is what you do, like, don't tell any, like, basically Kyron's mom is calling Dimple all day. Her name is Lynette, I'm sorry. Kyron's mom, Lynette, is calling Dimple all day and night, basically saying, like, have you seen him? I'm so panicked. They used to be close, and Dimple kind of just can't ignore her. So she just starts to say, like, oh, anything to do to help. And then she kind of volunteers herself to post a video, like, getting people to look for Kyron. So chapter 7 is about her inviting her family members over, and her family members, basically her half siblings coaching her through like what to do, how to record the video, how to go about things in a non-suspicious way. All of a sudden, Dimple's mom Janet comes home, and she is kind of just so shocked at all these people in her living room. Dimple is known to not have friends, and finally Janet realizes that they're all her siblings, and Janet just goes into microaggression, like, I don't know, like, she just starts getting into it. She starts talking about how none of them have a job. She starts talking about like, basically she says, Danny, oh, you been to jail? Oh, you got a kid? Oh, Nikisha, you got 2 kids? Same dad? Nah, they're 7 years apart. I don't know, that's sort of strange. She starts talking about Prince and how he doesn't really have a job, but I think he's in high school anyway, so I don't really know. Like, Janet is very, very, very clearly upset with Cyril. Wants nothing to do with him. I think there are similarities between Janet and Lizzie's mom. And I think, like, she just kind of views everything having to do with Cyril as bad. So she comes home. They have a dinner, which is not nice at all. Basically, Janet is just going around kind of taking little digs at all of the siblings, and Nikisha's old enough to really stand up to it, and she has that attitude to where she's not gonna take it. So they don't get kicked out, but like, it's very clear that they're not wanted there. So all the Dimple siblings leave, and I think this chapter is interesting because it's one of the first times in which we see Dimple like treat them like siblings. Like she goes to bat to protect them. She doesn't let her mom talk bad about them. Her and her mom actually get into an argument because her mom says like they've clearly seen your fame. They just want money from you. They just want XYZ. And like, you know, she doesn't even know that they're really riding for her in a way that Dimple probably would have never imagined. So that chapter is, yeah, like it's really a bonding chapter that moves along the plot in terms of understanding that they're starting to not move in the way of quote unquote half siblings. Like they're starting to view each other as real people. They're starting to view each other as real friends and not just family. So I think I really appreciated that aspect of this chapter. Moving on to chapter 7. So in chapter 7, we meet Kyron and his new girlfriend, or we don't meet Kyron, but we meet his new girlfriend. And what happens is he's still kind of recovering, right? This is the first chapter we see where it's kind of told from Kyron's perspective, or it's really mainly centering on Kyron. Like it's about all the fogginess that he was going through after the accident. It's about, you know, just him, you know, wanting to get over Dimple, getting the new girl Jenna. It's about him not really giving her a relationship, even though like they kind of like each other, but I think she has her little roster too. And also it's about him finding out that Dimple is getting with his best friend Roman, which is crazy because Dimple and Kyron were in a committed relationship, and the entire time Dimple was kind of cheating. I don't know whether it's physical or emotional. No, there was definitely physical because she was going over there and she was cuddling that man after having sex with Kyron. That's crazy. So yeah, like I don't know, like this chapter, basically that's the beginning of this chapter, right? But what happens is Kyron finally goes to visit Roman just to like, before he calls his mom and says that he's okay because he just wants to figure out what happened. He goes to Roman and he sees Roman and Dimple together. They're kissing, you know, like Dimple's getting in the car to leave from his place early in the morning, so she clearly spent the night. And like, yo, Kyron, bro. Yeah, take a shot for all of us, cause ain't no way. But yeah, so he's extremely upset. He goes to his mom's and he sees Dimple, bro. Like basically, I think, basically for some reason Dimple went over to the mom's house just to comfort her and console her, which like she felt extremely uneasy about. I think she's kind of starting to feel the guilt of the whole situation. Like she did from the beginning, but now it's really setting in, right? But yeah, so Dimple starts to feel extremely guilty, and she's just like, man, like I can't believe I'm in his mom's place hoping that he's dead while telling his mom like, oh, he's gonna be okay, like he's gonna come back. And then all of a sudden Kyron comes through the door, and you know his mom is like so excited but also so suspicious and angry that like he was like beat up, or like she's like, who did this to you? I'll kill them. And then Kyron sees Dimple, and there's like an in-between state where Dimple is like, I don't know how to react, bro. She's about to fall to the ground and admit everything and say she's sorry, because she doesn't understand that Kyron didn't remember. And so he actually like tells his mom like, I don't remember what happened, like there's no one to get revenge on, like I don't know who did this. Next week, or not even next week, a couple days later, Lynette, who's Kyron's mom, throws like a coming back party, like a homecoming party. Dimple shows up, Kyron's new girlfriend shows up, you know, Roman shows up, and that's where the real issue is, because Kyron sees Roman and immediately starts to get into a fist fight with him. The fight ends with like Kyron falling, hitting his head on the counter again, and like people are so scared, but he wakes up and he remembers exactly what happens. And then the final part of the chapter is him texting Dimple 250 bags, which I believe, I don't know pounds and all that, but like it's a lot of money, bro. It's a lot of money. And Dimple doesn't quite know what to do, so again she calls all her siblings, Lizzie, Danny, Prince, Nikisha, and they start brainstorming, and that's the end of the chapter. You know, like I said, this book right now hasn't hasn't clinched my attention, which is tough because I'm so excited to, you know, film this content, just talk more, you know, get into, you know, just dive deeper into what I feel about the book. But I would say, if nothing else, it's a book about people becoming closer, so I can't really hate, you know, positive Black entertainment. Candice Carty Williams is a good author. I think Queenie was one of my favorite books, so it's hard to top. But at the end of the day, I really hope that y'all appreciated taking this journey with me. I hope that y'all pick up this book and read it. Maybe not. Maybe let me finish before I say that. But I hope you all tune into the next video. Have an amazing day. Peace and love. Subscribe.